Welcome to the Art Award podcast. I'm your host Nick here, and I'm with my co-host Daniel Real.
Hey guys, good to be back here again. We've had an exciting past week.
Yeah, we have. It's been a big week in Flesh and Blood down here in Dunners for us.
Massive week for Dunedin. We've got
Yes.
huge event on the Saturday, big event on Friday, and a smaller sealed event as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, really cool to have everyone down for the Dice Jar Games Championships.
Yeah, shout out to everyone that travelled, even if it was from Christchurch, Nelson, or I don't know, did anyone come from there? I don't think anyone. In Auckland.
Yeah.
It was great to have you guys down here.
Definitely.
Always a great time to see anyone in the fab community.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely massive shout out to everyone that travelled.
Yeah.
Super cool. Super awesome. There are tons of really cool things happening at the event. It's first big event for Monarch. So
yeah.
definitely really exciting
First
to see the
tournament of Monarch.
Yeah, and we had plenty of top players at this event. Matt Rogers, Kale McCreath.
Yeah.
Lots of
There was a
really
few other names.
yeah. Jed Lawless, Liam Spronkin. So a bunch of really good top players showcasing what they've come up with in the first few weeks. So
yeah.
definitely.
All right, so pre-leading to this weekend, we actually got most of our Monarch stock on the week just been. So
Yeah.
I didn't get to open most of mine until like the Monday or Tuesday of that week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I pulled 4 libraries from 8 cases.
That's nuts. You followed the Art of War ratio, which is 1 library per 2 cases.
Yeah.
So I'm at 2 libraries for 4 cases, and you're at 4 for 8. So subscribe to the Art of War podcast if you want to pull some libraries.
Yeah. Hopefully I can bring this luck onto my first edition cases. That should be hopefully arriving here at the end of this week, I believe, or starting next week.
Probably have some first edition opening boxes videos on the way, which will be really cool. I'm excited for that.
Yeah,
definitely.
Excited. All right, let's start talking about the Friday. So on Friday night down here, we had our armory, which we had 26.
It was quite a lot. It was five rounds.
Yeah.
So really big event, and an armory before a big tournament has always got a really interesting dynamic where people don't really want to show off their deck lists because they're saving them for the big tournament, but
There are other people that are actually wanting to get testing.
to get practice in, so you're not really sure what you're ever going to run into.
Yeah.
I debuted a chain list that I had been thinking about for a while, and had kind of made some different changes to along the way. Really low to the ground. Doesn't run the 2-cost attacks at all, and I basically swept the event until the last round and came second. So it was quite happy with that deck, but I didn't end up actually playing it on the big tournament.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a mistake, but yeah, definitely Chain is a really strong hero to watch out for.
Yes, he is.
What did you play on
So
the armory?
I debuted a list that I was making for Chain as well.
Yep.
Not an amazing list. Probably a more like Runeblade / Shadow Runeblade than your list. I did run a couple of 2 attacks in there. Like I definitely played Rifted Torment, which I really liked. Which is the card that deals the damage when it's played from Banish Zone.
You're kind of running a more kind of cost heavy deck.
Yeah.
I was running
too cost heavy, but it's still costed.
Yeah. And there were some other really good decks. There's quite a lot of Warrior being played.
Yep.
Kind of more of we're seeing both go wide Warriors and go tall Warriors.
A lot of
Ninja too.
Yeah, a lot of Prism being played as well.
Yeah.
There was like at least 3 or 4 Prism players.
Yeah. So Matt Rogers actually was down here for the armory, and he didn't want to play his deck for the Saturday because he wanted to keep it secret. So he asked me if I had any decks on me. I had a test Prism deck that I had, so he just played my pile of Prism deck cards, and this deck had a bunch of unplayables because I hadn't played it once, and Soul Food, it might be good. Let's chuck it in there, So I'm not sure quite how he went, but I'm sure he had a fun time on my trying to make my jank work. But yeah.
Yeah, for a skilled player like himself, I'm sure it was probably enjoyable to some level to try to figure out where it fits and what it doesn't do.
Yeah. So what was your kind of first impression of playing Monarch heroes against Wraith heroes and other Monarch heroes?
So, I really like playing against. I don't think I played any Wraith heroes on that day.
You didn't? So you just played...
I may have played against a Rhino. I think I played a Rhino in the first round.
Yep.
And it wasn't a combo rhino, it was just a real basic get up rhino.
Okay. So it wasn't too difficult for you?
Yeah. I think I just teared through it, to be honest. You get away a lot in that matchup, I think.
Yeah, because they kind of can't really punish you super early on.
Put the switch on that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you mean that one?
Yep.
Oh. So he's not even here in the middle, but yeah.
They could still hear you. Just,
sweet.
It was just a worse quality.
Yeah,
yeah. Sorry about that, guys. Just a quick technical issue.
So, yep.
We're back now. We were saying chain can you have to punish him really early on in the game.
Yeah,
because he ramps up with his Soul Shackle tokens.
Yeah.
So for chain, we found there's two ways to deal with him. Either you somehow try and fatigue him, which is really difficult.
Yeah.
Or you really put him on blast turns 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
To try and basically crack him before he gets super powerful. Did you play against any prisms or anything?
I did. I played 2 prisms. I destroyed the first one, and then the second one I played, I was greeted by Arclight Sentinel after playing a Mav Skies and a Seeds of Torment, and you just go,
oh no!
There goes a wasted attack, and you just throw it straight at the Arclight Sentinel.
Yeah.
But that usually means they're doing nothing their turn because...
Yeah. So if you don't know, Arclight Sentinel is a card. It's basically the magnet. You can play it whenever you have priority, and it makes your opponent have to attack it.
Yeah.
And because it's a Spectre, it kills the attack, stops go again. So it can really efficiently end your opponent's turn.
Yeah, so they ended up being a really close game. I wasn't really prepared for Arclight Sentinel, and I ended up losing to Blood Debt because of it, but... I think
because it can make it hard to play out all your attacks.
Yeah. I think if I had been a little bit more aware of Arclight Sentinel, it would have been a lot more closer of a game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, Prism has a couple things for chain to watch out for, because they have Herald of Judgment as well.
Yeah.
Which is an attack that, if it hits, you can no longer play cards from your banner zone.
Yeah.
So...
a must block.
Yeah, basically. But it's not always easy to, because in Prism you have a lot of -2 attack cards. 2 block cards, which are really not very good.
Yeah. Normally I'd save the husk in your armor for those sort of attacks.
Yeah.
And try not to really worry too much about the others, block it out and then try to get some damage in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That said, let's talk about Saturday. What was Saturday?
Oh gosh, I screwed up Saturday big time.
Yeah, so on Saturday we had the Crucible winner case down here in Dunedin.
Yeah.
Which is classic constructive format, much like the Friday night, and was an amazing event. A lot of people travelled. It was massive. There was heaps of people here. I think we had
29 players.
29 players.
So yep.
It's a lot of players. It's a lot of players.
It's a lot for Dunedin. This place was packed. We had people on every single table, and there was a massive amount of energy in the room. It was really really cool to see.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, what did you play?
I was tossing between Dash and Chain before. I did
I heard Jordan was quite instrumental in you choosing to swap from Dash.
He just basically told me that it's just not good, and I knew that, but comfort pick, right? Which I believe is what you did. You comfort picked.
We had Nick and I had the opposite approach to each other, and it failed spectacularly for both ends. I think for different reasons.
Just to be clear, at the start of this, me and Dan, we like to play the format a lot before we actually try to compete in the format. So coming into this with very little playtesting is not good for both of our mindsets.
So for me, how I like to play a competitive tournament is I like to play as much as possible, get as much practice in, know my deck inside and out, and then play it at a high level consistently, and just be familiar with the meta, right?
Yeah.
which is really difficult to do when a new set has just come out. It's
Yeah.
impossible. So it's always been a hard spot for us because I like to try and work out the meta, and sometimes you're just wrong.
Yeah, sometimes you are, yeah.
I think,
It happens.
yeah.
But it was just, it just made it a rough experience for both of us. But anyway, I decided not to play Dash, and I decided to play Chain. I made a couple additions from the night before. I actually dropped down my armor pieces and opted only to have one additional piece of armor. So that way I could switch to Nora if I ended up versing, I believe, a wizard. But I wasn't expecting a wizard.
Yeah. Liam Strongham was threatening to play Wizard for a little while.
Yeah, he was. I ended up sticking on Combo Rhino, but yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Dash and Arcane Rising Heroes in general, it was a no-show for them.
No, there was one Dash player. And
that's a far cry from what we've seen previously.
No Viz.
And Crucible.
No Wizard.
Yeah.
No Ranger.
No Ranger.
Thank God for that one. No offense to any Rangers players out there.
We love you. We love you.
Not a good time.
But yeah, so the meta was vastly dominated by the four Wraith heroes, Prism and Chain.
Yeah.
I didn't personally see any Bolton.
I didn't see any Bolton. I
think there was one Levier deck. I think there was one Levier deck, who was which was played by one of the newer players here, I think.
No, so he opted to play Rhino.
Oh, he played Rhino?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't...
He just played with Meat Anks, which is alright.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
That's just interesting choice.
Fair enough. Yep.
He is a fairly newer player, so he is still experimenting with stuff, which is okay.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's always good to try out different things. And as we said, I'm pretty sure we'll look back at some of our lists and think we were quite wrong.
Yeah.
I almost...
I almost always do, yeah.
Yeah. It's so hard to know early on in the meta what's good.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of one of the most important factors in a new meta is deciding whether to pick comfort pick versus something new. Yeah. I went with a comfort pick, so I played Bravo, which I hadn't had much practice on recently, but it's like been a long-term deck for me that I've played. And I was feeling good going into round one, but things just didn't line up. My first match was Bravo Mirror, which wasn't, even though I play Bravo a lot, I'm one of the only Bravo players here. Yeah. And I play Bravo in a slower style, which is not very popular down here. So hadn't had those reps in. And it was a close game, but I just didn't come out on top.
Yeah.
And my second game was against Reiner, Combo Reiner, and I just got swept. I got Blood Rush, Bellows, in Beast Within into yellow, barraging Bighorn on turn 2, and the game just slipped away from me from here. And they have a lot of the new Dominate. They had an interesting deck with Pulping and Smash with Big Tree. So they were actually putting out quite a lot of damage as well on the off turns, which is something we hadn't really seen much of from Reiner. So I went 0-2 and then dropped. I need to do some shopping, and we went for a burger.
Yep.
So how'd your first couple rounds go?
So now that I'm thinking about it, I'm completely blanking on my first match. I have no idea what I played against.
That's fair enough. It was quite early in the morning. It was about 11 o'clock when we started.
Yeah. No. Lie.
You remember?
I versed the Dash player. I versed the only Dash player.
Oh, okay.
And... I think there was a few fatal errors he made, like misplays that he made, but I don't know if he didn't understand what to expect from the chain sort of side. But even for me, as a pretty experienced Dash player, I knew that he was making mistakes. But in saying that, by the time I got going, like the first 3 or 4 turns, it was too late for him.
Yeah. So you're playing against Caleb, right?
Yeah, so I was playing against Caleb.
Massive shout out to him. He is playing at the start of the game, and he's got busy with work, and he's only recently started coming back and playing again. So definitely really good to see him coming back and playing at events. Yeah. How was your second round?
So I end up putting on the stream camera versus against Kale. On Bravo, and I knew that man had a fair idea of what he needed to do against Chain, and I, however, had no practice against a Bravo deck.
Yeah.
Was very uncomfortable with that matchup, and I think about fourth turn in, I realized I was not winning this. There was no way. I was 100% over before we even got to the end of the game by the fourth turn.
Yeah. So what happened? What was his game
I don't
plan?
know. I just felt like whatever I did, no matter how much cards I kept and how much I attacked back, I just wasn't gaining anything.
Just wasn't.
And every time that I was gaining something, it was him giving it. It wasn't me taking it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know how you like try to take a flow of a game and you're
Yeah, you
like,
just
I'm taking this. There's
sometimes
nothing you can do, right?
He's just up against the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time I took life point damage from him, like 9 times out of 10, it was him giving
Yeah.
it. So I ended up like throwing out my Snapdragons by turn 6, and then I ended up just trying to quicken up the game because I knew the game was over. There was no way I was winning. Ended up on like life points on 2 and 1, and a few people made comments after the game that it was a very close game, but me and Kale both knew.
Sometimes it's not.
It looks close, but it's really not. Me and
Yeah.
Kale both knew from the start that this was not a close game.
It's
at all.
yeah. I mean, that's something that you often see with bystanders in the game, is that they don't quite see the full breadth.
Yeah.
Because like often you might rock up on the last 2 turns and there'll be like 1 to 2 life, but one player clearly has tempo advantage. You might say close. Well,
Yeah.
not necessarily. They probably use that life that makes it look close to get that tempo advantage or
Yeah.
carries them to finish, right?
Yeah.
You know, the life total that makes it look close is not is a resource to be used, you know,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really have that much bearing on whether a game is close.
Yeah.
You know, if both players are low and the tempo is even, that I'd say is a close game.
Yeah.
But if you're far behind on tempo, it doesn't matter what the life totals are, you're gonna lose if on those low life totals. Yeah.
So I talked to him after, and he sort of said that he knew by turn 2 that the game was over. It wasn't a match. It was.
Yeah. Sometimes games go that way.
Yeah, and that's just what it is. It is like it is
Yeah.
really early in the format. I mean.
And that's the thing. You
Kale
go.
was a man that has spent endless hours, thousands upon
So,
thousands of hours.
He actually won the tournament, so
Yeah, he ended up winning. But
Yeah.
On Bravo.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
so I
sometimes
finished
the games
it.
go that way, right?
Yeah. So I finished that. That was my second matchup. At that point, I knew you were 0-2. And me and you both sort of just, I was like, we go 0-2, we're just going to drop, go get burgers, and
Yeah.
begin our night.
So where did we go for burgers? This isn't the
We get to round 3.
Get to round 3.
Yeah.
Well, burgers are an important part of any.
It is.
Any of our
And,
tournaments.
you know, I don't want to rush the enjoyment of the burgers.
All right, we'll get to the burgers in a bit.
Yeah.
Hold on to your seat.
So I was like already in half the mindset that, you know, that if I lose the next match, I'm going to go get burgers. So I probably wasn't really going into my third match with the best mindset.
Yep.
So I ended up versing against your second round opponent on the
Yeah.
third
So you
round.
played against the same runner player that I
Yeah.
had. Yeah.
And
And that game was pretty rough.
that game was pretty rough. It was just a bit intense trying to learn how I needed to play against that
Yeah.
deck, and then
There was-
watching that deck that performs well already, like do massive moves on me, and I have to try and adapt
Yeah.
and adjust to it.
Yeah.
I think so. I ended up getting to the last turn, which was my last turn, and I knew I was dead at the end of the turn from blood debt. It didn't matter, but I did have the kill there.
Yeah,
and I
you
it
had
in, like,
you
I
had
it in, like,
lethal.
in like 2 or 3 different ways.
Yeah.
But my mindset was already tilted from such a, I think, such a like rough learning experience game for me, and
Yeah.
wanting to go get burgers. I sort of just like
The
misread the
Yeah.
whole thing, and I was just like, I just threw and hand shook.
Yeah.
and-
So you thought. I think what
Yeah.
went wrong is that you thought invert existence was an action that
yeah,
took
so
an action point.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, so I misread invert existed and thought it was an action, but it's
Yeah.
an instant, and I had to go again on the Vexy Malice.
And if you attacked with a bounding demigon
Demigon,
from
which-
graveyard, which you could have done, you would
Banished
have
file.
won the
Yeah,
game,
yeah,
right?
I would have won the game.
But that's kind of that is always the danger of playing a new deck, is you can miss things,
Miss things, yeah.
not quite understand what your cards do, and have it put you in a really tricky spot.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so, but told him I was fine with that. It was my choice.
yeah,
Mistakes were made on my behalf. I hold
happens,
nothing
right?
against him. Yeah.
happens.
So yeah, we dropped. That was us. We dropped, and
went for burgers.
We went for burgers.
Yeah, where did we go for burgers?
So we went to a new burgery place that is opened up here in Dunedin called Comes First Dinner.
Chicken dinner comes first.
No, it's Comes First Dinner. That's what it's called. It's a really weird name, but
yeah.
A
It was
friend
pretty
of
nice,
my
though.
friends actually owns it. And,
Okay.
Yeah, so he opened it up, and it's a pretty good burger joint. It's not bad.
Yeah, I had a big beef burger, and we got chips with gravy. Yeah, it was pretty good.
The gravy was good.
It was really nice.
The burger was good. It did have bacon dust in it, and the bacon dust I don't know why they called it bacon dust. They should have just called it little bacon dry chunks. Because
Yeah, I wasn't so keen on that, eh?
It sounds good.
It's a bit like gristle, I guess.
No, it wasn't even like gristle. It was just like it just felt like every couple of mouthfuls there was a pebble in your mouth and you bit it and you're like, oh, pow.
Yeah.
But in saying that, we both asked for no gherkins on our burgers, and what did we get?
We got gherkins.
We got gherkins. We got let down by the gherkin lord.
Unforgivable.
Yeah. Not something you're like halfway through a burger, you're like, oh, this is going great, and then you're like,
You bite into one, you're like, oh.
And this wasn't like some freshly sliced gherkin. This was a
It
jar
was a
gherkin.
thick boy.
Boy, jar gherkin had a lot of juice to it, which added to the flavor of the burger.
Yeah.
Bit rough, just 2 disappointments in a row. God.
No. But
with
with the right thinking, if you go O2 at a tournament, go for burgers.
Yeah,
It's a good pick. Good pick you up. So yeah.
So that ended up being the end of our tournament experience, and then we went and brought. I think we went and brought a shirt each and
Yeah, we took a case of Monarch home with us.
Yeah. So I was supposed to be sending a case of Monarch Unlimited back up with Matt for some personal reasons between me and him, and it ended up that he didn't have enough room.
So you got
and
to
I
keep
was
this
just
case.
like, I'll just take it, and then I'll just pay for one up there for you, and then that's it. So I ended up taking that home, and me and you just decided to sit at the table and crack it. And want to speak about your 2 boxes on that half that you opened?
Absolutely stink. I opened 2 of those boxes and 2 zilch.
Yeah, so we opened these boxes at the same time. So I opened the first box as he's opening his first box. Nothing between the first 2 boxes.
Yeah. We're thinking it's heading towards Yikes case.
Yeah. Get to the second box.
You never want to go to Yikes case.
Yeah. About halfway through the second box on my side, I pulled an Eclipse, which brought it back a bit. It was like, oh, yes.
One of the cheaper legendaries, but still
legendary. Yeah.
Still a good pick, yeah.
And then I get to like the last 3 or 4 packets, and I open my 4th library, which just
unreal,
instantly turns the case around to being a really good case.
Yeah. Yikes case to excellence case. Yeah. So that was a good afternoon after the tournament.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So anyway, back to while we were doing all that, the games were still being streamed here, and matches were still being played.
Talk about the stream quickly. So, massive shout out to Ian Kenderdine, Nick Butcher,
and Jordan
and Jordan Nelson Fossil, who did an excellent job commentating.
Yeah,
I haven't finished the whole stream, but I've watched quite a lot of it, and the commentary was top notch.
Yeah.
I felt like they were really insightful on what their opponents were trying to do, and trying to work out what the card picks were and why, which is quite difficult to do in a new format because it's not quite known yet.
Yeah.
And they were really on top of it, really entertaining. So if you guys want to go give that a watch, it is on the same channel as this, Dice Chug Games Fish and Blood. Go hit it up.
Yeah, I highly recommend. There'll be a link in this for you to go view that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the feature tables and then streamed top 8 games, right? And we can talk about the top 8 medalists if you like.
Yeah, I think we should. We'll go to the top 8 decks. We'll start talking about the top 8 decks. So, for the top 8 decks, we ended up having Elijah Hewitt.
Yeah.
At,
so
8th place. Actually, let's talk about the breakdown of the match. Other thing. So it ended up being two warriors, 2 bravos,
one ninja, 1 prism,
1 runner, and 1 Shane.
Yep. So
a pretty good spread, largely dictated by Wraith, which I mean, I assume people were comfortable on these Wraith heroes. They're want to keep playing them.
These 4 Wraith heroes just have massive staying power, and we can see the Arcane heroes. Dash has been routed from the meta. She's gone. Get out of here. You will not be missed. You will not be missed by me.
Missed by me, sadly.
Yeah, the Nick's our Dash player. But, yeah, well...
Pretty interesting field. Yeah,
definitely. So we're looking at Elijah's list. He is the ninja player at the top 8. And we can see that his list is largely maintained being the same.
So he also played for the idea that there was no wizard in the field, which was pretty good. Probably not a bad guess.
I think you only play one Norin gloves anyway, just because you race them.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, you put in enough pressure that
Yeah. So I played against Elijah quite a bit, and this is kind of the same deck that he's been running for a long time, just with a couple new additions from Monarch.
He's a very good player down here. He just needs a bit more practice against some other heroes to help himself out.
So the new cards that he's running are 3 red Belittle and 3 red Minnowism and a blue Minnowism.
Yeah.
And I think these cards are pretty good in Ninja.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. It allows them to search out the other part, which allows them to search...
The Belittle lets you search out the Minnowism.
Yeah.
And it really works well on your combo cards, like your Rising Knee Thrust that are 3 attack and they get buffed to 5, and then further to 8 with Minnowism, so you come in for pretty big hits.
And I believe Minnowism doesn't cost, so it's also a 0 target.
Yeah. The one thing I change about this list is I wouldn't play the open centers.
Yeah.
They're just a bit cumbersome, I think. But, I mean, if you draw well, they're going to be really good.
Yeah, it's a bit too much open the centers in my opinion. But as I said, this is something he's been playing for a while.
It's obviously been working for him, so keep doing you.
Yeah.
Pretty
it's a pretty standard ninja list, to be honest.
Standard ninja list. The Art of Wars, the Snatches, just kind of typical stuff that you see a lot of.
Yeah.
I know this has been a tried and tested deck for a very long time. And it continues to do well in the Monarch era. So always good to see Ninja. I think Ninja being good is super good for the metagame, because it means that control isn't kind of routed the aggro. You always want some form of aggro to be viable, and I think Ninja fits that slot. So definitely always happy to see a Ninja on the top 8.
Yeah. So well done, Elijah. Well done.
Yeah. Massive props for making the top 8. Should we go on to our next deck?
Yeah, so on the next one we have Liam Spronkin, who is one of our dear friends, isn't he?
Yes, so we had Liam Spronkin on last episode.
We did.
So if you want to hear more from him, head on to that episode at some point.
So our boy here chose to play Reiner of Reckless Rampage, and his equipment list is pretty substantial compared to most lists going into this.
Yeah, so we can see here that this is the Claws Reiner build that we've that he's been on for a long time in Dunedin.
Combo Claws, I believe. Yeah.
Exactly. Not really many change ups. Just been a really strong, consistent deck with some added Dunedin spice in. So we may have gone over it last week, but Liam's new favorite card is Red Life for a Life.
Yes.
And this is one of the big things that sets this list apart from a lot of other Reiner lists, is the Red Life for a Life. And the idea behind this is that you can use it to really punish worry decks and decks that don't want to block you, as a ninja as well. And then you can pitch a blue, attack with Life for a Life with Go again, and then come in with a club, which threatens a 9-point life zone. So it's super good for... basically, it's used in the matchups where you swap the claws out for the club.
Yeah.
So against Warrior and Ninja.
Yeah.
We can see the Nullrune hat, Skullhorn and Nullrune gloves are in for Wizard.
Yeah, so he was prepping for a Wizard that wasn't there, which is okay, but...
I think a lot of people were. I think there's always opportunities for Wizard to sneak in at the start of a new set. Yeah, I mean, this has been a really good, consistent list for quite a long time, and I think Reiner's only going to get stronger in Monarch.
As we go further along the meta, I think Reiner does have a very good position going forward.
I think he's going to be good against Brute, good against Bravo, which as we see won the tournament, and Prism, which came second in the tournament. And Prism's like another list that I think Reinhardt's going to perform kind of similarly to against to Dash, where he just kind of dominates that matchup if he can line up his attacks right.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. Dan Mackay actually said on the stream that he was terrified of playing against Reinhardt, that Reinhardt absolutely smashed his Prism deck. So and that he wanted.
Which I'm not surprised.
Yeah. He actually said that he did not want to play Liam Spronkin in top 8 for fear that he would lose to him. So
yeah, which makes a lot of sense. The matchup is an interesting one that actually does put out a lot of damage and doesn't actually favour anything you can do.
Yeah. So yeah, this is if you want to play Brute, then this is a great list to follow. I'd highly recommend it. Played it myself.
It does take a bit of learning to do. It's not your traditional Brute. I have playing around the whole combo idea.
This isn't a pick up and play deck. It's quite methodical in the way that you play it. You want to set up these big turns with Art of War and Blood Rush Bellows. And Blood Rush Bellows and Sand Sketch Plans potentially. And get off these big claw turns. And it's not easy to do when you first start playing the deck, but it's really fun. I recommend you try it at some point.
Yeah. Kudos to Liam again.
Yeah, definitely. Great job making the top 8.
Yeah.
He's a really consistent player.
Yeah.
All right.
I think that brings us to our next one, which is David Marshall on Bravo.
Cool.
One of the 2 Bravos in the top 8.
Right.
All right. So this is our first look at the Bravo list.
Yep, so we see 3 Rouse the Ancients there. It's a no-brainer addition to Bravo. That card's just... I got to play it in some of my games and it was massive there. Just an amazingly good card.
If you look at his equipment slot, he was also prepped for a Wizard matchup that did not exist.
I think it's standard. Bravo can't really put the pressure on for Wizard, so
they just
need to play the 4.
Yeah, they end up just pitching and then clubbing. Pitching and swinging, pitching and swinging. It's just really good for
I don't think Reinhardt really misses the deck slots.
Yeah, that much.
One of the interesting cards in here is the single yellow disable.
Yes.
And dropping... Oh no, it is there. The yellow disable is just card that we haven't really seen much of, but disable just seems to be getting better. You know, Command and Conquer has only ever become a better card, and I think Disable's going to follow suit. Card's just really strong.
This is a pretty good Bravo list. There isn't really too anything that stands out as too different. Yeah,
he's running 7 pummels as well, so he's playing a yellow one, which was quite crucial in his game against me. I played David first round.
Yeah.
So, 7 pummels is super good. And
I think Crush Confidence, the red Crush Confidence, is about the only card I'm not really too keen on.
Crush Confidence? I think it's there to deal with Chain and Levia.
Yeah.
One thing I would like to see in this deck is the red Outmuscle, which is a brand new card from Monarch. It does... it's a red, comes in for 6, costs 3, and if it isn't defended by a card with greater power, then it has go again.
Yeah.
So it's a really powerful card that can really let you get ahead.
I know Kale was looking for a few of these going into the start.
Yeah.
I got a message in the morning, can you find me 3 foil ones of these? And unfortunately, I don't think I've opened enough Monarch Unlimited to source out 3
that card is super good, and I think it's going to sneak its way into a lot of Bravo decks going forward. So I wouldn't be surprised if that gets added into this list in the future.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, so congratulations, David.
Yep,
congrats on making the top 8. All right, so we got the final deck before the top 4, and it is a Daniel Richards on Dorinthia.
Good old Dorinthia.
She is a staple in most people's households of Flesh and Blood, at least, in my opinion.
She's an American classic already.
Yeah, timeless. She's timeless. She's living life.
All right. The thing that leaps out at me straight away is the Nourishing Emptiness. 3 of them. Which is very interesting, right? So, Nourishing Emptiness is a card that gets buffed if you don't have any attack actions, which is good in Warrior because you don't play many attack actions. But this deck looks like it is.
Yeah.
3 Command and Conquers, 3 Enlightened Strikes, 3 Nourishing Emptiness.
This feels like
and a Singleton
I feel
Scarf
like
Scar.
it's probably a sideboard card, and she probably
Maybe
he probably
for Prism,
plays it
eh?
for Prism, or plays it for when he goes for a setup build, and this is just a surprise card because this looks like sides out for aggro.
Yeah. The Singleton Scarf Scar is very interesting as well. Not quite sure what that's there for. Usually you see decks either running all three or none, and I almost think Life for Life is a slightly stronger card in these kind of decks, just because they force you. When you get attacked with Scar for Scar, you just think, oh, I'll take 4, which is good for pushing damage, but I think Wario wants its opponents to block.
Yes, we want them to block early, so that our bigger sword swing is more punishing.
Yeah, and the other very interesting card is 5 Driving Blades, which is not been a card that I've typically been very keen on, but it does work quite well with Command and Conquer on really resource intensive turns.
Yeah,
So,
no red overpowers, which stands out. I believe 1 or 2 would normally make the list, but yeah.
Yeah, and the blue push forward, I think, is kind of shows that this deck is trying to like set up some big attack action plays, but yeah, I mean, it must have been working for him because he did make top 8, but I'm not 100% sure on some of these choices.
He knew that he wasn't playing into a wizard, which is good.
Yes, only one Norrin in the deck list.
Yeah, and he's very good slot to have it on as well.
Yeah, I do feel Warrior's kind of in a very interesting dilemma at the moment, and that the deck list can go either way.
Yeah. I fear that Go Tall is just not going to end up lasting, and she's going to end up going wide.
I mean, Prism hits this deck so hard.
Yeah.
Just Prism just puts out so much damage, and Warriors a really hard time blocking it without running kind of worse cards like Command and Conquer and Nourishing Emptiness wouldn't typically fit in a traditional Warrior deck.
Yeah.
So we're kind of stuck between this go wide and go tall, and kind of having to kind of play in the middle now, so that they can play against Prism and still have favourable matchups against Chain and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see a lot of really interesting, strange Warrior decks in this period of time, as Dorothy gets used to the new normal. But
1 Dust Path Pilgrim.
Yes.
I was expecting maybe a red to turn up somewhere, but yeah.
I think it's good blue to punish your opponent with. I think it keeps people guessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't fret if you're a Doranthea player. I mean, obviously 1 made top 8, which is a bit lower than normal. Usually 2 make top 8.
No, 2 made top 8.
Oh, 2?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
We'll be going on to 1 shortly. Don't you worry, mate.
Don't you worry. Yeah.
It'd be great to compare the lists to see where the differences are.
I wouldn't, What I was trying to say is I wouldn't threat if you are a Doranthea player. The deck has proved over and over to be super adaptable. And I'm sure it'll just be a matter of time before a new, like, S-tier Warrior deck comes out, as they always tend to around big tournaments.
Yeah. And saying that, good job, Daniel, and we'll move on to the next one.
From Nelson, so... Yeah, awesome.
He's a great guy.
Yeah.
The next one we have is Roy Millen on, once again, Doranthea. And he correctly predicted that there was no wizard as well, which is good.
Once again, I don't think you run that many Norrøn into wizard either. Wizard is typically a really difficult matchup for Warrior, just because they tend to...
That's why I think you play... So, for me, I found that for a setup Warrior, you just keep Refraction Bolters, and you switch everything else to Null-Rune, and then you play a more setup Go Tall and punish them on the turns where they don't.
Yeah, I think you can kind of just get blown out. It's the Wizard matchup has always been a really hard question for Warrior, just because they run not many blues, and they're not really... They find it hard to threaten the Wizard as much as a Ninja can.
I think in the setup and Go Tall, you're running actually a decent amount of blues, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's usually the go wide blue list, like the... So comparing Daniel's 21 list versus Roy's 24 list is actually a substantial amount of blues. It's only 3, but that's a lot.
Yeah,
I think in mine I play like 25, 26, which is a huge difference.
We're seeing Iron Song determinations in both these lists, right? And
Ooh, did we even see a Razor Reflex in the other one?
no, I didn't see one.
There was no Razor Reflexes in Daniel's list, but here in Rory's we have 3 Razor Reflexes.
Yeah, and again with the driving blades, which
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm still not super keen on. Maybe
He's playing 3 red overpowers, which I love.
maybe it's good. I don't know. I can't ever get
Yeah.
driving blade to work for me. I kind of like a singleton blue just in the late game, but yeah.
2 red plow-throughs.
This is a very interesting new card. So the +1 it gives actually lasts the entire turn. So it gives
Yeah.
+3, and it gives your weapon until end of turn. If it's blocked by an attack action, gives +1. So this card is really strong for like punishing attack action decks. So it's quite good against ninja. Can definitely get you over against a flick flag.
There's no time snap potions in this, so this is
It's kind of a half and half,
Yeah.
isn't it? It's a more traditional warrior list with the twinning blades added, and the singleton nourishing emptiness, which makes a bit more sense to me. Yeah, and I'm not so sure about Command and Conquer. I kind of think you either want to go more attack actions or not many at all, but then again they might be there for the Prism matchup. It is really hard to know at the early stage exactly what people were thinking.
Ideas. Yeah. Well, congrats.
Yeah, congratulations for making top 8.
Top 4. Rory.
Top four. Yeah,
4.
definitely. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely some really interesting decisions.
Yeah. I think that gets over most of our Wraith.
Most of the raised heroes. So we actually the two.
There's one more Wraith hero, but
Yeah.
he's at the top of the pinnacle, and we'll get to him. But in between that, we now have
the Monarch heroes.
the 2 Monarch heroes that made, I believe, top 3. Well, top 4, but we'll call them top 3 because there's 3 Monarch heroes in top, 2 Monarch heroes in top 3.
Yeah.
So we have Jason Long from Christchurch on
And
Shane.
If you know anything about Jason Long, you know that he's a genius deck builder. He's always coming up with these crazy deck lists that no one saw coming. You know, he debuted Claw's Brute at Nationals. He beat me and came first at Road to Nats Nelson with Turtle Ninja at the very start of a new meta. So he's a really big thinker. Really likes to work out the meta, and I've got to say his deck is very interesting.
Very, very much different from both of our deck lists. On
And I think some parts of it are still too big brain for me to understand. But I want to start out by just saying, absolutely love the 9th Blade of the Blood Oath in this deck. What a genius choice. It's a yellow 9 power, and it seems odd. You might think, wow, there's no Rune Chant generation in this deck. How are you ever going to play it? That's not the point. The point is that it's a yellow, it blocks Prism. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's good enough. It's an excellent card for this meta, and I'm sure it helped him out. The reason you can get away with playing this card that you never play is you're going to pitch it, maybe block with it, and if you're pitching it, you're going to banish it off the top eventually, and it'll get out of your deck.
Yeah.
So
it ends up not being a problem. Yeah.
not being a problem at all.
He is playing 3 Sonata Arcanics.
And this is the part that puzzles me. I don't get this card.
I can't remember what it does. Can I briefly read this?
Oh,
You
I
read
can. I know what it does.
Yeah.
So it's cost 2x to play. Like
so you
Spark of
pay
Genius.
double. Yep.
You reveal X plus 3 of the top cards of your deck, and for each non-attack action card you reveal, you can put an attack action card from that revealed list into your hand, and if you do, you deal 1 arcane damage. So you see what I mean? So the main way people are thinking to use this card is that you make a bunch of rune chants, you activate Scalada, and then you play it for like 15 or something, and you reveal 15 cards and deal shit ton of damage, right? But in this deck, there's not really much rune chant generation, and we're not playing Scalata. So,
I don't think it's actually as bad as you think as well. I think so. If you're putting the attacks into your hand and you're revealing like stuff like Seeds of Agony and stuff like that, and you know they're going to get banished.
I don't think it's terrible. I just think there are better choices. And this deck to me looks like it's very light on attack actions. So you have the 3 Shadow of Ursa, the 9 Bounding Demigons, and the 9 Rift Binds, and the single Soul Reaping.
Yeah. Plus the 3 Knife Blades, but
Well, they're not really attacks. You're
Yeah.
never going to attack with them.
Mutated
And
mass,
the 3 mutated mass. But that seems like not.
It doesn't feel like enough.
It doesn't feel like that many, and I feel like against some of the slower decks, they're going to be able to fatigue you out quite without too much trouble. So I think I would prefer to play 3 more attack actions.
It means he's not, like, another way of thinking about this is, it means he's not ever got more attacks than he can play in his banish pile, which means the only things he has in there that he struggles to play are the the actions, which are actually enables his Galaxy Black.
Yeah. I mean, for the attack actions, I would like to see some that aren't actually played from the banish zone. I would like to see Meet and Greet, which is a fantastic card, gets go again if you dealt arcane damage, which this deck has potential to do a lot of, and makes a enchant if it hits. And the other one, which is, oh gosh, can't remember what it's called. The one that makes your opponent discard a card if you've hit with arcane.
Consuming Volition.
Consuming Volition. I always forget the name of that card.
Yeah. One of my favorite artworks.
Yeah. I feel like that card is super good in these decks, and sure, it can't be played from the banish zone, but it's so punishing. Keeps your opponent on their toes for when they do take that arcane damage, and just
something he is playing that I want to consider playing is Hell from Beyond.
Yeah, so this was one of the cards that I thought was
just
really strong for his deck because he's playing so many Demigons and Rift Bindings and really low cost attacks. He can play the Hell from Beyond quite easily and get in. So I think Hell from Beyond has been a bit underrated.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing I want to point out is 9-dimensional gateways. And this was one of the chain cards that I said was insane. And I was originally playing 6, but cut it down to 3 blues. But he's playing the full 9, and I think it actually can work really well this way. So the card, if you don't know, opts a 1, 2, or 3, depending on the colour. So 3 being red and opting 1 on blue. You reveal the top card after you opt, and if it's a shadow card, you may banish it. If it's a Runeblade card, you deal 1 arcane damage to your opponent. But if it's both, if it's a shadow Runeblade card, you get both effects.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like almost like a draw a card, deal damage, and of course it's a non-attack action for your Demigons and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think this card is really
largely, yeah, like you want to try to reveal your seeds.
Yeah.
And banish it, and then be able to play the seeds.
Yeah. I think the main thing that this deck could change to be better would be to replace the Galaxy Black.
Yeah.
I can see the temptation to play the 1-cost weapon, but I just think Nebula Blade is so much better.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll talk about Nebula Blade a little bit more later. But
an interesting card which I ended up throwing out of my list on Friday and not playing on Saturday was Crossroads. I decided I did not like it at all. It just seemed cost efficient when I had it in hand. Like, inefficient.
Yeah. I had it in my deck on Friday, and I was siding it out in most matchups because I only really wanted it for games where my opponent was being very defensive.
Yeah.
And I wasn't likely to hurt myself with Blood Dam.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I'm not as high on the card as I was initially.
What he is not playing is the book. The book.
Yeah, this is one of my... The book.
The
Book is amazing. Come on, Jason, chuck the book in.
Oh, man.
So Tome of Torment is
It says draw. It says the word. Draw.
Tome of Torment is obscene.
Yeah.
You can have hands where you can block out with your entire hand. If you've got a Tome of Torment sitting in the banish zone, you can play the Tome of Torment, draw a card, and then play the rest of the cards that you've just banished.
Yeah, you play it. You've made a token to play it, of course. You draw a card, and suddenly your Nebula Blade swings for 4.
Yeah.
Threatening to make 1 arcane. So you've just gone from a 0-card hand to...
And you can set up the tome with other plays as well. Combos quite nicely with...
Although I did notice it felt really bad if you had 1 in hand and 1 in banish zone, because it just meant you were never playing the 1 in your hand. Your 1 in your hand was...
Yeah, you have to either Arsenal or pitch to set up for later.
It feels bad arsenaling as well.
There are a lot of cards that are very good that are bad to draw 2 of sometimes. Like Art of War is another good example, where Art of War can sometimes be amazing, but if you draw 2, then you're less likely to have an attack action in your hand to banish, and so on. But I think that card is a really good inclusion, and I think I would include that over Sonata Arcanix any day.
The problem is, with 2 Art of Wars in hand, you know you can Arsenal one for another turn.
Yeah.
And it's going to be good, right?
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, this is one of the most interesting lists, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely a lot to unpack here, and I might have to build this and play myself, because there's a lot of very interesting ideas thrown around in this deck list. So definitely a cool one to watch, and I think Chain is going to be one of these top decks going forward, and there are a lot of different directions these decks can go, whether it be like aggro or combo.
So well done, Jason. Once again, proving that you are a great player, and
this man is consistently doing very well at tournaments. So no surprise to see him here. Yeah, well done.
All right, moving on to number 2, Dan McKay.
Yep. So Dan McKay's on Prism.
Dan McKay. Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
All goods, and his deck is very, very interesting.
It is. It is 39 yellows.
Yes, so this
13 reds and 21 blues, which actually feels right.
Yeah, I think it's exactly right. Just the majestic weapon for Prism is obscenely powerful. Just giving your phantasms go again, hitting for 15 a turn, getting extra resource, like threatening extra resource from Vestige if you hit. And it's just so powerful. This is the big stompy deck. This is the new Dash. This deck is going to be huge in the tournament scene going forwards. And I think there's also some really interesting tech in here that he's picked for this new meta. And one of the most obvious ones that is like a blinking light to me is the 2 yellow pummels.
And if you look 3 above that, you get 2 ranging onslaught.
Yeah, so these are obviously the 2 tech cards. I think the pummel is going to be used to crack Guardian.
Yeah.
So use to crack Guardian in a really threatened chain. And it's just a big setup card in a slow deck, so pummel's a really good choice that might not be obvious to people. And the ranging onslaught has one purpose only. Well, it does pitch yellow, but it's to block in the Prism Mirror.
Yeah.
That's what it's there for. And I think also the Celestial Cataclysms are there to block in the Prism Mirror as well, because they're not phantasms.
And command.
Yeah. And another really interesting card, I think, that he's picked is Springboard Somersault, which is, added...
It's a yellow enabler, and it's defense reaction that if you do end up not needing it in hand, you can put it in arsenal.
And block for 4. And he said on the stream that he hates this card, but ends up putting it in all his decks, and I can sympathise with that quite a lot. This card feels so bad to block with for 2 if you can't arsenal it. It just feels terrible, but the yellow resource is so tempting that you end up putting it in anyway.
Yeah.
Another interesting card is the Blinding Beam yellows. So Blinding Beam gives -2 to attack to an attacking or defending attack action.
I think the yellows is right, though. You wouldn't play the reds or the blues. A -2 attack, I think, is enough.
Yeah.
Not many people are playing anything that have higher than 8 attack, except for... Or higher than...
Yeah. It's probably one of the first cards I would cut, but I think it does make your Guardian matchup slightly better.
Yeah.
Just being able to shrink some of those attacks on the defense.
Yeah.
And we do know that this deck was a bit skewed by the meta because Dan McKay said on stream that he saw that there were no wizard players here before the event. Well, he heard that the one wizard player was judging, so he took out all the Norrens from his deck. So he was actually playing some and added some other cards. So I'm not 100% sure what the extra slots were, but I think the Blinding Beam
was probably not.
Say that 3 times fast. Is probably the cards that he added in.
My favourite defense reaction of the set is there. Soul Shield.
That card is insane.
Yeah.
Oh, they shouldn't have printed that.
Nah,
I don't know
it's
why.
definitely... Nah, the thing was good. It was a good decision. There was no terrible decisions made there. not judging anyone in LSS for that terrible decision.
That card is so good.
Nah, it's really good. It's actually.
I actually almost feel like there's a reason they didn't give Dash defense reactions. I feel that maybe it was a bit of a mistake to give Light a defense reaction, but who knows?
I don't think it was a mistake to give them it. I think it was a mistake to give them one that just instantly goes to the shield, the soul straight after.
It is so powerful.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculously strong. One of the most obvious exclusions from this list, I think, is the library.
Yeah.
No library in this list, but
Maybe you didn't have one?
Maybe didn't have one. So we'll see. I think a library is a shoe into this list. I think that card is broken beyond belief.
Yeah, I wish I could play all 4 of mine.
All 4 libraries in one deck.
God.
Intellect 9, please.
Thank you. Yep.
You get penalized 4 times and still play a normal game.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done, Damakai.
Very well done.
Really cool list. Awesome to see new heroes being played.
I look forward to messing around with your list a bit more and building a way I would like.
Yeah.
But this is a good setup shield for most
How
players.
would you play, Nick? What would you change?
It's not that I'm not a fan of Merciful Retribution. I just don't think I need it. I'm not against Pummel. I definitely wouldn't play Ode to Wrath, in my opinion.
So you're not high on the auras?
No, I think there are auras you need. Yes, you need Genesis and Arclight Sentinel. I feel like the rest outside of that are more fair picks for me, right? There's something I pick for...
I think Damakai actually talked about it on the stream. I think they're meant to be sideboard cards for the slower decks.
Yes.
So you play them against Guardian so that, he kills an aura, you just play another one, and then you just ping him.
Yeah.
Because each one attacks for 1.
Which is, right, yeah.
So...
Whereas the Arclight Sentinel's for the faster decks where you can see a play coming and you go, whoa, here you go.
Yeah. Or like the big setup
Here's your
decks
turn
and
gone.
such. Yeah, exactly. Definitely really interesting deck. And Prism, I feel, is going to be a deck that gets like really refined over time. So
Yeah.
I'd like to one day come back and compare those decks to these decks and see kind of what's changed along the way.
Yeah.
Should we go on to the champion?
Yeah, so a man that means no further introduction, but we were going to give him an introduction anyway. Kale McRae.
What a champion. He flew down at 1:30 in the morning.
This man buys a ticket at 1:30 in the morning and then buys a flight down here as well at that time in the morning. And
shows up looking super tired.
Super tired.
And just crushes anyway. It's just...
He was expecting Wizard though. I see that, but it didn't matter because even without expecting the Wizard, this man has an insane amount of reps behind Bravo himself.
Yeah,
and
he's the Cal McCreath is the undisputed Bravo master. I don't think anyone will contradict me there.
Yeah.
He's up there with the best of them, and there are some quite interesting cards in here. We have
Figure the Asian, good man, and 3 red out muscle.
Yes.
Even better man.
So he suggested this card to me in the morning, and yeah, for the same reasons we said earlier, the card's super strong, helps you in a lot of matchups.
Yeah. So he messaged me in the morning and he was like, "Can you find me 3 foils?"
Did you get them for him?
No, I didn't. I can only end up finding 1. Obviously, I haven't opened enough unlimited to have 3.
Oh, come on.
Which
You've
is
got more
unfortunate.
fables than you do have
I got
foil out muscles.
Yeah, 1. I had 1 out muscle. This isn't crazy.
Some of those foil rares could be quite hard to get, It's only about 4 per box.
So this is the man playing with cold foils and gold foils as well. I don't know. Actually, was he playing with his gold foil skull cap? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Oh, he did. But this is a man that probably, definitely, most likely playing with cold foil Heart of Fendel.
Yeah. Heart of Fendel is a card that I've been very high on for a long time. I unfortunately had to sell mine recently, but
This is a man that believes if you have the card, you should play it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the same. If you have a Heart of Fendel, it goes in your control decks all day long.
But the difference between you and him is if you have a cold foil, you're
Yeah, I'm not playing the cold foil.
Yeah, this is a man that I know is
it's going towards the
the
house.
cold foil is getting shuffled in the deck. He's a great guy.
What an animal. Talking about deck decisions, 2 Forge for War. This is a card that's been in and out of Bravo disc decks for a long time. Very meta
This is
dependent.
so actually I don't think he was pre-planning for it was a matchup. That's not what the Nolan's for. The Nolan's for a Forge for War against Chain or something,
Yeah,
so that he
it's
can
quite
throw
possible,
his armor
yeah.
away.
Yeah, I think Forge for War for Chain hits a really good pick. Just helps you. I mean, Forge for War by itself blocks the Nebula Blade, and Chain has to break his combat chain quite a lot. It's a bit of an oxymoron. He's called Chain, but he breaks his combat chain.
Yeah. Oh well.
But yeah, because he has to break the chain to make his token or play non-attack actions between his attacks.
Yeah.
So he does let you reset the equipment quite a lot. Another really good choice, I think, is the 3 additional three yellow disables. I think that's for Prism.
Yeah.
Just trying to make them block, unless they give their arsenal up. Command and Conquer's a good card. Play Command and Conquer Light too, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, he's not even playing any Command and Conquer.
Well, it's not so good in Bravo, but
Yeah.
Disable is the Bravo edition.
Yeah.
Because it costs 3. But yeah, other than that, it's a fairly typical Bravo list, but I feel like...
Obviously, there's a lot more skill piling, but to me, that's just.
I feel like KO can just...
Yeah.
Has got...
Yeah.
got Guardian down so much to a point that not too much needs to change. He can just rock up and crush people.
Yeah.
40 people them all day long. So massive congrats to him for winning. You are our Dice Jar Games champion. Enjoy your case of Crucible.
Yeah, I wonder what he's going to do with it. He's probably...
You think he'll open it?
Nah, I don't think he'll open it.
He'll open it? Well, he's got to get
Nah.
some more Cold Force to play with, right?
Well, he only needs Monarch Cold Foils. He doesn't need no Crucible Cold Foils.
He's
I mean,
got
it's
them all.
probably... I mean,
He's rolling in the May.
I can't make his decisions for him, but I feel like he'd probably get rid of it. There's not really much need for a man of his caliber to keep it. I mean, he could just crack it for the memes. It did only cost him, what, like...
$45 entry. and a flight.
Plus a flight here, a flight back. No accommodation needed, so no
Yeah.
stress.
He stayed at night.
He
Did
did?
it stay the night?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, okay,
cool.
so he did have a
Anyway.
accommodation night.
Yeah, massive congratulations to him. You are a very deserving champion.
And I hope he didn't get in too much trouble when he got home.
Hope the missus didn't notice. He's back so quick.
Yeah.
Should we move on to card of the week? It was kind of a roundup of the tournament.
Yeah. So overall, a very good tournament, very well done, and I am sure there will be a one for Monarch First Edition at some point in the near future.
Yeah.
I don't want to give any details away on that because I don't have any.
Massive props to Greg for setting up the event
yeah.
and running it. It was a really huge prize pull of a case of Crucible.
Yeah. I know it was just
So-
a couple of stressful weeks beforehand going into it for him, so
Yeah, but I
to
think
see this pay off so well for him is amazing as well.
pretty cool. So definitely go and support.
Yeah.
you
Definitely
can
watch
buy-
the stream. It's worth watching the stream.
Yeah, you can buy singles
Yeah.
from Dice Show Games with Art of War 5, AOW 5, right? 5% off.
No, it's Team Dice Jar.
Team Dice Jar 5.
Yeah.
Team
Team
Dice Jar.
Jasa 05.
Watch me get it completely wrong.
A lot of people just missed out on saving up.
Yeah. So get 5% off singles at dicejargames.com if you want to support more events and streams in store.
Yep.
And now we have card of the week. We've picked the Chain All-Star that I don't think has been recognised yet.
You know, the one top 8 list didn't have it. So.
I know. Nebula Blade.
Nebula Blade.
This card's insane.
So this is a very... I sort of ignored this card going into Monarch at first.
Yeah. I was talking to Matt about Chain. He said, I pulled out my Reaping Blade, and he said, no, replace it with Nebula Blade. And I was like, okay. And I did, and the card is nuts. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So-
So it says... I believe it's like if you have played a non-attack action this turn,
Game plus 3.
3, and if this card hits...
If it hits, even if it's when it's at 1
Yeah.
power, you get to create a rune chant.
Yeah. Cost
So,
2.
yeah, cost 2, and every time you attack with it, you're threatening that rune chant generation, and 2 for 4 is huge. Like,
Well,
two cards.
technically, it would be like... Yeah, so it's it's two pitch for 4 damage, but if it hits, it's 2 pitch for 5 damage.
Yeah.
Which is where I look at Galaxy Black and go.
Galaxy Black is an attack for 3 that sometimes does 4. I think saying it attacks for 4 is a bit disingenuous because it's going to get blocked for 3 the
More
vast
times.
majority of the time. Whether
What's the
Galaxy
reason
Black is 5 quite often because 4 is a lot harder to block.
Nebula. You mean
Sorry, Nebula Blade
Yeah.
is quite hard to block.
So 4 demands a 2 block, whereas Galaxy only
Demands a
one.
single card,
Yeah.
yep. And I think that's what really sets them apart. It can also be, in the early game, Chain is quite weak, or much weaker, because you don't have any banish cards,
Yeah.
and Galaxy Black requires you to banish a card to get its power buff, which can be difficult to
It
do.
requires you to play a card from Banisher. So, in the early game, Nebula Blade for 4 is a lot more
Yeah, I think,
beneficial.
yeah, Nebula Blade just makes your early game a lot easier on Chain
Yeah.
than, and Galaxy Black is so much more difficult, because you can just, just attack for 1 a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And a lot of your attacks from hand, like especially if you're running the Jason list, which runs only attacks that have Blood Debt on them, those cards are not very good when you play them from your hand. Red Bounding Demigon is only 3 for a red from your hand, and Riftbind is the same, and that one costs like a resource. So I think being able to play a non-attack action and attack for 4 is going to save your early game a whole bunch.
Yeah.
So definitely wouldn't discount Nebula Blade. Really awesome
I
card.
definitely wouldn't. Yeah. I will be playing around with a lot more chain lists, but I don't think the only thing I think that won't change is Nebula Blade. To be honest.
Yeah, I think Nebula Blade is far and away the best weapon in that deck.
Don't get me wrong. I want Dread Scythe to do well. It's just
It's so expensive, right?
3 costs. Yeah.
I think
Like, don't get me wrong. Good card early game. Bad card late game. Very bad card late game.
yeah.
Like those first 3 turns, you can get away with having it there. It's not a big deal.
But as the game goes on, you've got more blood debt. It becomes increasingly more difficult to have that resource there, especially when your opponent's pressuring your life total because they've been going ham at you the first 3 turns.
Yeah.
So, I think maybe Dread Scythe could be good in some of these kind of end game kind of builds, but Reaping Blade is also really good for blocking life gain. So I'm not really sure what Dread Scythe's identity is.
Yeah.
It's a bit tricky.
I'm sure someone will figure it out and have it somewhere in the meta, and we'll see that at some later point, to be honest.
Yeah. To me, it's the Majestic weapon from Monarch that just gives me like, what's this supposed to do?
No,
all the other
Raiden
ones.
for me, mate. That's Raiden.
Oh, I think Raiden's great.
Yeah, Raiden's not bad. It just
Yeah. You
Luminaris
get to
is
play...
just so much better.
The Luminaris is the most insane Majestic weapon. I think it's probably one of the most powerful weapons in the game.
Yeah.
Easily. Just, it gives you Kadachi.
To be fair, Hexagore isn't bad either.
Hexagore is very good.
It's just nowhere near the Prism one at all. The Prism one is a mile above.
The Prism one just takes a deck from A tier to S tier, right? That one weapon. I didn't think the deck was going to be very good coming into competitive scene, and then saw Luminaris spoiled, and I realized it gave all illusion attacks go again, not just your weapon attacks.
Yeah.
With your auras, and that was when I was like, holy shit, this deck is insane. So definitely really powerful. Hexagore, I think, is on a similar level where Hexagore is the reason you want to play Levia,
Yeah.
because coming in for 6 off 2 is unmatched. Like, bravo wishes, right?
Yeah. Poor man's got a pitch. He comes in for 6 off 2.
Yeah.
2 different cards.
Not quite 2 resource.
One day, bravo.
One
We'll
day,
get there.
bravo. At least he's not doming himself. For
One day he'll get a weapon that swings for stat 6.
10. Give us a weapon for 10 LCS. Do it.
7. It'll be like a 7. Pitch 3, swing for 7.
I hope not. It'd be a 3-card block on a weapon. That'd be
Yeah.
awkward as all hell.
It would be, but I imagine it wouldn't have any other effect, right?
Yeah. I feel like 6 has got to be game design wise, has to be the ceiling of weapons for a very long time. Just because a 3-card block on a weapon is huge.
I think eventually we'll find. So I think at the moment armor and like defensive means it's not that there isn't a lot. I think that we're just playing around a format that isn't defensive. Eventually, one of our few formats that will come up in the next couple of years will be a very defensive format,
and
where I can see a weapon being needed that is higher than 6 power.
And we're still missing 2 of our generic legendary slots.
Yeah.
We still don't have the legendary arms, and we don't have the legendary footwear, which could have a lot of defensive power for these decks. So
looking at most of like generic equipment that we have, leaks would suggest some sort of action regain or action double up ability, and the arms themselves would suggest some extra bonus to power of some sort. Extra damage, extra hurt.
That's kind of how the game tends to function, is that the arms modify your attack action in some way.
The arm is the punching, which is the force.
And then the footwork is kind of like
speed.
crafty, rule bending kind
Speed.
of stuff. But
how many times you can do something?
definitely. Bring it back to Nebula Blade. Awesome card. Run it in your chain decks. Super
Get
good.
it in there, please, Jason. Get it in there.
Chuck it in there. I think as a
You may
top
disagree
deck
with
if
me. You
do.
probably have a very good reason to disagree with us, and
But
we don't blame you.
But to us, Nebula Blade seems like the king.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say before we finish up this episode of Art of War?
No. We are, I believe, Dice Jar is looking for an artist, a commissioned artist.
We're looking at getting some Dunedin playmats done. So if you're an artist, if you've got skills...
you got some work with some flesh and blood work, not necessarily your design cards or anything, but any sort of artwork potential in that format. I'm sure he would love to hear from you.
Email Greg at dicejargames.com.
Email Greg at dicejargames.com if you are interested in a commission for some flesh and blood artwork. Also, I'd like to just let off with a massive thank you to everyone that went out of their way to make it down to the Dice Jar Games Championship. It was an epic event, and it wouldn't be the same without you all. So, thanks everybody for coming.
It's highly appreciated. Like we know that we're coming into 2 call-ins.
And it's a very busy time of the year, and I know that if I was not in Dunedin, I would find it quite difficult to make it down. So massive appreciation for those that did go out of their way to come down, especially from places that are far off. So huge props. Thanks for coming. We'll make sure to have another one in the future. Cool.
Exactly. So we're going to sign off now for our audio listeners, and that it's largely due to the fact that we're about to do a parcel opening that we have received from Sushi Night Gaming.
So this will be the end for the Spotify version, but if you are watching on YouTube, or if you go to watch on YouTube, we're going to have a very special segment at the end where we open a parcel sent by Sushi Night Gaming. So it's going to be really cool. Could be some giveaways. So make sure to...
giveaway coming up in the future involving whatever's in there.
We don't know what it is yet.
We don't even know.
We haven't opened it
yet,
obviously. But stay tuned. See you next time.
This has been the Art of Water podcast.
See ya.
And welcome back, guys, to the Art of Water podcast. We've got a special box opening here, courtesy of Sushi Night Gaming. In here is a gift for me and you, and a giveaway gift, I believe.
So really awesome to have this sent to us.
So thanks so much. Would you mind not grabbing the scissors like that?
I thought you were handing it.
I don't want to.
All right.
I don't want to cut your hand open. I don't know why you'd think I'm handing it to you.
What could be inside?
Let's find out. This has gone wrong. This has gone wrong.
Don't listen to us, guys. We don't know how to open a box.
So there's actually there's a box. It's actually glued down. Not only is it taped down, it's glued down as well.
Oof.
This
was meant to be like
traditional.
This was meant to be ASMR, Nick.
This is ASMR something. And look, there's a lot of Monarch for us.
Monarch confetti.
Yes, I knew I was giving away that to someone.
So we have some.
All right. Oh, here we go.
That?
Wow, that's a lot of.
That's a lot of playmats. Is there anything else sneaking in there?
Receipt that I don't want to look at, so let's not look at that. And an awesome thank you note from Sushi Night Gaming. It says, to Nick, thanks so much for your support for charity. We really appreciate it, and of course the amazing content you are providing for the community. Please accept some of our To Nick mats to give away.
Tunic
on your podcast.
mats.
And then it says some moldy words that I do not want to mess up because they are inspirational. It says, please continue to inspire others, Steve and the Sushi Night crew. So thank you, Steve.
These are
Steve from Sushi
spicy.
Night Gaming, legend in my eyes.
Yeah.
He is a very
Steve McRoy is, you know,
big
massive
pillar in this community.
big pillar of the community. Loves seeing all the brute-inspired Savage Lands mayhem that goes on at his store. Thank you so much for sending this to us, and we'll make sure to do some giveaways. Jesus.
Get that
Are you
out
ready?
there.
You ready?
Yeah, let's look.
How
Oh,
nice
wow.
that looks.
Wow, so this is the
Just-
tunic Sushi Night mat. which
This
is
just looks
amazing.
incredible.
I actually missed out on getting one of these, but these are insane.
A number of these. So
We got 3 of these, so we'll be giving away these at some point. And I actually purchased 2 of his Cancer Society charity. I believe it's daffodil mats. Daffodils.
Yeah.
They're daffodils, right? They're not dandelions. I don't
They're
know why I keep
daffodil.
thinking-
They're daffodils, you silly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So-
for the massive charities movement's been going on in the flesh and blood community for cancer. So these were kind of made to help go along with that, and they look amazing. You know, massive props.
Yeah.
To them for putting these together. Thank you so much for sending this to us, Steve.
Thanks
Really
so much.
appreciate it.
We'll have a giveaway organized within the next couple of weeks on what we want to do with these other playmats to give out.
Yep. Just stay tuned to the Art of War if you're interested in potentially obtaining one of these mats.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to say, Nick?
Just a huge shout out to Steve and
Yeah.
the Sushi crew.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you again later. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.